I got Mockingbird. This says when the villain initiates an attack against you, spend one resource of any type and return Mockingbird to your hand to prevent all damage from the attack. I got the Vibranium Arrow, which we talked about already. Avengers Tower says exhaust the Avengers Tower to reduce the cost of the next Avenger ally you play this phase by 1. I got Expert Marksman, which makes I can exhaust it to make one of my arrow events cheaper. And then I got Make the Call to have the ability to play a ally from my discard pile, which doesn't help me right now. And then I got a Genius resource card. Okay, so I think the first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to go find Hawkeye's bow since I wasn't able to draw it in my original hand. So on his alter ego side, Clint Barton says, spend one resource of any type, search your deck and discard pile for Hawkeye's bow and add it to your hand. Then shuffle your deck. So I need to decide which of these cards I want to spend as a resource. And I think I'm going to spend Make the Call because I don't have any allies in my discard pile right now anyway. So I'm going to spend Make the Call. And I'm going to search my deck for Hawkeye's bow. That's Hawkeye's quiver. Hawkeye's bow. So I'm going to add that to my hand, and then I'm just going to immediately play it because it's free. And Hawkeye's bow says restricted. It has the restricted keyword, which means I can only have 2 cards in play that have the restricted keyword. So if I have 2 cards in play that have the restricted keyword and I would want to play a third one, then I would have to discard one. It says your hero gets +1 attack and each of your arrow attacks gains ranged. Each of my arrow attacks gaining ranged means I will get to ignore retaliate. So if I have a villain that has retaliate for some reason, then I would ignore that if I am playing a arrow event. Okay, and shuffle my deck after searching it. Okay, and then I will go ahead and flip over to my hero side because I do not need to do anything else in alter ego. And then I think what I want to do is I'd really like to play Mockingbird. That might be... I got a bunch of good cards all at the same time, so I have to actually decide what I want to do. Because I could do 2 resources for with Genius to play Avengers Tower, and then use Avengers Tower to reduce the cost of an ally, and then spend the other 2 cards in my hand to play Mockingbird. That's one path I could take. Or I could play Expert Marksman, and then use it to help me play Vibranium Arrow, which will deal damage to Magneto, and then all that kind of stuff. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go the ally route because I need to remove threat from over here before I can do anything to him anyway, really. Dealing 6 damage to him and getting rid of the tough would be great, but then I would hit that minimum or that maximum amount of damage I could do to him and not be able to get rid of this round. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use the Genius as 2 resources to play Avengers Tower. And then it says exhaust Avengers Tower, reduce the cost of the next Avenger ally played this phase by 1. So I'm going to go ahead and exhaust that. And I'm going to reduce the cost of Mockingbird by 1. So she now costs 2. And I'll spend the other 2 cards in my hand to play her. And then I'm going to use both Mockingbird and Hawkeye to thwart. And I will thwart for 2 with Mockingbird and 1 with Hawkeye to thwart for a total of 3 so that I can complete this boarding party side scheme. It says when flipped, flip this card, or when defeated, flip this card and reveal Sabotage Master Mold. So I'm going to flip this over. It says Master Mold has been reprogrammed. You must take it offline before it can create human hunting sentinels. Okay. It says Magneto cannot have more than 12 damage now, And then it starts with 3 threat, just like the previous one did. And when I defeat this one, we'll go to the next one. Okay. And then I think, I need to give Mockingbird a damage for doing that thwart. And then I think that's going to be it for that turn. So I'm going to go ahead and ready all of my cards. I'm going to rearrange things here a little bit. And then I'm going to draw my hand of 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's see what I got. Well, I got another Vibranium Arrow with piercing, so that's good. And then I got an Electric Arrow, which is exhaust Hawkeye's bow, stun an enemy, and deal 3 damage to it. Okay. I got Mighty Avengers. Your characters, if each of your characters has the Avenger trait, each ally you control gets +1 thwart and +1 attack. And then I got Stinger. Play only if your identity has the Avenger trait. Stinger does not count against your ally limit. Ally limit is normally 3. Is it 3 or 4? I'll check. I don't play leadership all that often, and even when I do, I don't play a ton of allies. I should. I'm just not good at doing that. I think it's 4, but I'll check. But either way, she doesn't count towards it. And then the last one I drew is Honorary Avenger. Play only if your identity has the Avenger trait. Attach to a friendly character, so I can attach it to myself or an ally and give them +1 hit point and the Avenger trait if they don't already have it. Okay. So that is my hand for next round. And now it is Magneto's turn. So the first thing he's going to do is gain 1 threat on the main scheme like he normally does. Then he is going to activate against me, and he is going to attack me since I am in hero form. Now I have a couple different options. I have the ability to defend it or take it like normal, or I could have Mockingbird defend it, or I could have her use her ability, which would return her to my hand and prevent all damage from the attack. I think I'm going to go with that option. So I'm going to pull her back to my hand. So when the villain initiates an attack against you, spend 1 resource of any type. I am going to spend, let's see, I'm going to spend the Honorary Avengers card and return her to my hand to prevent all damage from the attack. Okay, and he is going to attack me for 2 plus a boost card. So it would have been 4, and I prevented all of it. Okay. Then he is going to give me an encounter card for the round, and that is Wrapped in Metal. Attached to your identity. Attached identity cannot thwart, attack, defend, or recover. So it basically just turns off my basic abilities here. And then I can exhaust my identity and spend a fist resource to discard this card. Well, that is unfortunate. Okay. So I'll attach that to Hawkeye. He has been wrapped in metal by Magneto. Okay. So okay, I'm going to use the Avengers Tower to reduce the cost of the next Avenger ally played this phase by 1, and I'm going to play Stinger for free. And then I'm going to spend 2 resources, and play the Vibranium Arrow that I drew. So I'm going to exhaust Hawkeye's bow and deal 6 damage to an enemy. This attack gains piercing, so it'll ignore the tough card that he has. So I'm going to discard his tough card and deal 6 damage to him, down to 12. I did just remember that when he attacked me, I forgot to give him a magnet counter. Okay. Then I have 1 card left in my hand. I have Mockingbird. She's too expensive for me to play her right now. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'd like to save her for one round. Actually. I think I'll be okay. For Wrapped in Metal, I can't defend, but I could just have Stinger take damage for me. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Stinger to thwart for 1 on the main scheme, just to try to keep that in check. And then I'm going to have her defend against Magneto's attack against me. That way I can hold on to Mockingbird, because I'd like to play her again if possible. And I don't want to use her to get rid of Wrapped in Metal yet. I can't defend with Hawkeye while he's wrapped in metal. Oh, you know what? Wrapped in Metal says attached identity cannot thwart, attack, defend, or recover. So I'm betting that means I couldn't have played Vibranium Arrow, because that's technically an attack. I was thinking it just turned off my basic abilities, but I think it turns off my ability to do anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So I would have had to exhaust my identity and spend a fist resource, a red resource. I'll use Mockingbird because she has a wild, to discard Wrapped in Metal, and I technically would have had to do that first, and then I could have played the Vibranium Arrow. I was reading the card wrong, thinking it was letting me, or was making it so I just couldn't use my basic abilities, but it was making it so I couldn't use anything. I think I am still going to thwart with Stinger just to keep the main scheme in check. And then I will be done for that turn, and I'll go ahead and ready. And draw my new hand of 5 cards. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, so we've got a new type of arrow, 2 new types of arrows. We got an explosive arrow. Exhaust Hawkeye's bow, choose a player, deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. So this one isn't as useful because I don't have any minions in play yet. We might, though, by the end of this round. Cable Arrow is exhaust Hawkeye's bow, remove 3 threat from a scheme, ignoring any crisis icons in play. Crisis icons would be on side schemes, and they prevent you from removing threat from the main scheme while they're in play. So we don't have any of those right now, but I'll probably end up using this next round to remove those 3 threat from that side scheme so I can get past that. I've got Regroup. When an ally is defeated by an enemy attack, return it to its owner's hand instead of discarding it, and then when the round ends, discard this card. Well, this is perfect, actually. Shoot, that doesn't work, though. I would have had to play this. Since it's a support, not an event, I would have had to play this before, during my turn. So maybe I won't defend with Stinger this turn, like I was planning on doing, and I'll play this next round, and then I'll be able to actually pull her back to my hand instead of having her get discarded next round. Okay, we'll think about that. Then I got Leadership Training. I can exhaust this card and remove 1 training counter from it. It comes in with 2. Choose a leadership blue event in your discard pile and shuffle it into your deck. And then I got Recuperation. It's an event, heal damage from your alter ego equal to your recover. So I can, while I'm in alter ego form, I can play that card, that recuperation card, and I would be able to heal 3 without having to exhaust Clint Barton. So it just heals him for that much. So I could heal for 3 without having to exhaust him, and I could also exhaust him to heal for 3. So I could technically heal twice using that card. So that's pretty nice. Okay, so then it is Magneto's turn again. And he's going to attack me. This time I'm going to have Hawkeye take it because I don't want Stinger to get knocked out yet. I'm going to defend it. So I'm going to defend for 1, and he attacks for 2, plus 3 is 5. Ouch. So I take 4 damage. Hawkeye is not a very good defender. Okay. And then he gets a magnet counter after he attacks me. And then he gives me an encounter card. Okay. I get a minion. Well, that worked out. Okay. Guard. So that means I cannot attack Magneto while this guy is in front of me. And then it says, when defeated, give Magneto a tough status card. Okay. Okay, so now I am back to my turn. I am unable to deal damage to Magneto at the moment because I have this M-type Sentinel with guard on it. So I think what I'm going to do is let me look through my discard pile and see if there's any leadership events I want to pull back into my hand. Otherwise, I will probably... Yeah, the only one I have is Make the Call, which I suppose I could pull back into my hand and then use it to play Mockingbird from my discard pile, which wouldn't be bad. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to exhaust Hawkeye's bow and play Cable Arrow. So exhaust Hawkeye's bow, remove 3 threat from a scheme. I'm going to go ahead and remove 3 from Sabotage Master Mold. It says reveal the set aside Orbital Decay side scheme and add this card to the victory display. So it just removes it from the game basically. Okay. Orbital Decay also comes in with 3 threat. Magneto can now have 18 sustained damage, which basically just means I can knock out his first stage and then go to his second one. And then it says, when defeated, flip this card and reveal physical strain. So instead of another side scheme on the back of this one, there is an attachment that will be attached to Magneto. Okay, so there's that. Then I am going to spend the leadership training card as 1 resource to play and also the regroup card as 2 resources. Oh, I needed to do this first. I'm gonna go ahead and flip over to shoot, that's not gonna be good. I think I got to stay in hero form, actually. So let me pull this back. I'm going to spend 1 resource from Recuperation. I'm going to spend that as a resource to play Regroup. I'm going to put that minion up there. I'm going to play Regroup. So when an ally is defeated, I can return them to my hand. So when I use Stinger to defend this round, which I'm probably going to have to, I can use Regroup to send her back to my hand instead of discarding her. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do that actually might be it. Yeah. Because I wouldn't mind playing this leadership training card, but I would like to keep this explosive arrow. So I think I'm going to just hold on to those 2 cards. And I'm going to go ahead and ready all of my cards. And then draw up to my hand size. I think I'm going to go ahead and just discard this leadership training card just so I can get a few more cards. So I'm going to get 4 new cards. Okay, so I held on to the explosive arrow, and then I drew Hawkeye's quiver. It says, as an action, I can exhaust Hawkeye's quiver and search the top 5 cards of my deck for an arrow event and attach it to this card. I may play arrow events attached to this card as if they were in my hand. I can regroup. I got another regroup. I got a new arrow. I got a sonic arrow. This one confuses an enemy and deals 3 damage to it. 5 damage instead if it is already confused. And then I got another recuperation. Okay. So then Hawkeye is going to do, or not Hawkeye, Magneto is going to do his turn. He's going to get a threat on the main scheme. And then he's going to attack me. I'm going to have Stinger take it. He is attacking for 2. Plus, give Magneto a tough status card and a face down boost card. Okay, so face down boost card and a tough card. And then I'm going to use regroup. When an ally is defeated by an enemy attack, return it to its owner's hand instead of discarding it. So Stinger is going to go back to my hand. And then I have to take an attack from the M-type Sentinel. So I'm going to take 2 damage from him. So I take 2 damage. And then the next time he activates against me, he'll get an extra boost card. And then the last thing that happens is he just attacked me, so he would get a magnet counter, which would bump him up to 3. So I'm just going to remove those because they're going to get removed at the end of this anyway. And it says, after you place a magnet counter here, if there are at least 3 magnet counters, discard cards from the encounter deck until a magnetic card is discarded. Reveal that card, then remove 3 magnet counters. Okay, so discard that. Discard that. This card has magnetic. Okay, so this is a side scheme. It says Magnetic Mayhem. It has that magnetic keyword on it. So it starts with 4 threat. It has an extra boost icon, and then it says when defeated, the player who defeated this scheme discards the top 4 cards of the encounter deck. That player places 1 magnet counter on the main scheme for each magnetic card discarded this way. All right, so we will set that up here with our other side scheme. And that starts with 4 threat. Okay. And then Magneto also needs to give us an encounter card for the round because all of that was just triggered by him attacking. All right, so our encounter card for the round is Assault. The villain attacks you. Oh, man, seriously? Okay. Well, I don't have a choice. I have to defend with Hawkeye. And then he's going to attack me for 2. Just 2. I defended for 1. So I take 1, which knocks me down to 2. And then he gets a magnet counter back since he attacked me again. Okay. Well, this is all quite unfortunate. Then regroup is at the end of the round. I have to discard this card. Okay. I am going to exhaust Avengers Tower to reduce the cost of the next ally I play by 1 and replay Stinger. And then I am going to let's do 1 resource with regroup to play Hawkeye's Quiver. And I'm going to use it right away. Exhaust Hawkeye's Quiver, search the top 5 cards of your deck for an arrow event, and attach it to this card face up. So I'm going to draw the top 5 cards of my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it says, search top 5 cards for an arrow event and attach it face up. So if I find more than 1, I get just pick, I'm assuming. And I didn't get any. Okay, so those will just go back on top, I'm assuming. Search the top 5 cards of your deck. Yep, so they just stay there. Well, that was unfortunate. Okay. Then I don't really have a choice. I'm going to flip over to, well, I can do this first. So I'm going to, no, I can't even do that yet. I'm going to flip over to hero form, and I'm going to spend 2 resources to play recuperation to heal damage from your alter ego equal to your recovery. So I'm going to heal 3. 1, 2, 3. And then I am going to be done for that turn. So we're going to go ahead and ready everything. And now we get to draw 6 cards since we're in alter ego form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We already know what 5 of them are going to be because we just looked at them. All right. So we already saw them. Recuperation. This ally says after he enters play, search the top 5 cards of your deck for an event. Add that event to your hand. Downtime gives you +2 health recovery. Expert Marksman we saw earlier in the game where we can use it to play arrow events for cheaper. Call for aid. Discard cards from the top of your deck until you discard an Avenger ally and add it to your hand. And last is Team Training, which says each ally you control gets +1 health. Okay. Then we are going to do Magneto's turn. He's going to get 1 threat on the main scheme. And then he's guaranteed to finish his main scheme this turn because he's going to scheme against me since I am in alter ego form. So he's going to scheme for 2 plus 2 is 4 plus his extra boost card from before. 4 is 6. All of that didn't matter. As long as he got 1, he was going to move on to his next scheme. All right, so we are going to move on to the next one. This one says, when revealed, place 1 magnet counter here. And if Sabotage Master Mold is not in the victory display, the first player searches the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of the M-type Sentinel minion and reveals it. We did Sabotage Master Mold. We finished that, so we do not have to deal with that part. But a magnet counter does get placed there. And then we will flip this over to the next side. Okay, so this says Factory Online. After you place a magnet counter on this scheme, if there are at least 3, do the magnet counter thing, where you draw cards until you get a magnetic card. I'm not remembering off the top of my head if the counter that was already there transfers to the new scheme or not. For now, I'll just put it there. And then the M-type Sentinel gets to scheme, so he schemes for 2. So he'll put those on there. And then last thing that happens is Magneto gives me an encounter card for the round, which is Shadow of the Past. Great. Okay, so Hawkeye's nemesis is Crossfire. Has Quick Strike, but thankfully I'm in alter ego form, so that doesn't matter. So he's going to come into play over here. Then I also have a side scheme called Marked for Death. It says, when revealed, the Clint Parton player searches their hand deck, discard pile, and play area for Mockingbird and places her face up beneath this card. So he is capturing Mockingbird away from me. So I take that card and put it underneath this side scheme, and then basically she's just gone until I am able to get rid of that. And while that card is in play, it also has an acceleration icon on it, so I can't, or so it will make the main scheme go a little bit faster. So that comes in with 5 threat. And then the other 3 cards in his set get shuffled in to the encounter deck. Okay. Well, I wasn't too confident about winning this game today. It was going okay at the beginning, but not so much now. Okay. I think I did forget about the Magnetic Mayhem side scheme. That +1 boost icon would have affected how much Magneto schemed for But in that particular case, it didn't matter because he went above and beyond what he needed to do to finish his scheme anyway. Okay. Now I am going to... What do I want to do? I should probably heal again, so I'm going to go ahead and heal again for 3. And then I'm going to go ahead and flip over to hero side. I'm going to use his quiver again and hopefully find an arrow event this time. So I'm going to look at the top 5 cards in my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I got a sonic arrow, I got an electric arrow. So those are my 2 options. So I can confuse an enemy and deal 3 damage to it, or stun an enemy and deal 3 damage to it. I really need to get rid of that M-type Sentinel. So either way, I'm dealing 3 damage, which is not enough. I think I'm going to take the electric arrow, and then the other ones go back on top of my deck. And then, and that electric arrow technically does not go to my hand. It is attached to the quiver. Okay. So then I will spend 1 resource to put Expert Marksman into play. And then I will use it plus 1 more resource. I will do plus 1 more resource to play the electric arrow, and I will stun an enemy and deal 3 damage to it. So I'm going to deal 3 damage to the M-type Sentinel and stun it. And I'm going to spend, I'm going to exhaust Avengers Tower to make the next ally I play cheaper, and spend 1 resource plus the 1 from Avengers Tower to play this ally. After he enters play, search the top 5 cards of your deck for an event. Add that event to your hand, shuffle your deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We know for sure there was 1 arrow still, because we got 2 the last time we looked. So still just that sonic arrow. So I'm going to add that to my hand and then shuffle my deck. In order to have played the electric arrow, I needed to exhaust Hawkeye's bow and then discard the electric arrow. Okay. And then I'm going to attack for 1 with both Kalu and Stinger. So that's 1 damage from each of those to get rid of the M-type Sentinel. So the stun didn't really do anything, but that's okay. So we're going to get rid of that. So that is discarded. And then both of those allies take 1 damage each. Okay, and then I think that might be all I am able to do that turn. Yeah, I think that's all I can do that turn. Okay, I'm going to keep both of these cards, and I'm going to ready up all of my cards. I'm going to try to stack some things here. I'm going to stack Hawkeye's quiver and his bow together, just to try to save some space here. Okay, so I'm going to keep these 2 cards that I have left in my hand, so I'm going to draw 3 to get back up to 5. Okay, so the cards I got, I held on to the Sonic Arrow, that's what I kept on, and the Team Training, so the 3 new cards I got, Leadership Training, got another Cable Arrow, and then I drew the U.S. Agent Ally. It says he has Retaliate 1, so whenever he would take an attack, he will deal damage back. Okay, so then we are going to go to Magneto's turn. He's going to get 2 threat on the main scheme, He's getting one normally, and then he's getting another one from Marked for Death, having an acceleration token on it. Then he is going to attack me for 2 plus a boost card. And I am going to have... it doesn't really matter if I have Kalu or Stinger take it, so I will have Stinger take it. So she's taking an attack from Magneto of 2. Plus 2 is 4. So she's going to get discarded. Then after Magneto attacks me, I have to put a magnet counter on the main scheme. But that knocks it up to 3, so he's going to remove 3 counters and discard cards until we get a magnetic card. Alright, so we got Electromagnetic Blast. Exhaust each upgrade and support you control and place 1 magnet counter on the main scheme. Well, that could not have been a worse possible card for Hawkeye. So I'm losing the ability to use my Expert Marksman. I'm losing the ability to use my bow. I'm losing the ability to use my quiver. I'm losing the ability to use my Avengers Tower. Oh my goodness. Okay. All of that was from Magneto's attack. Then Crossfire is also going to attack for 2. And I think I'm going to have Hawkeye just take that one. He's going to take 2 damage. And then the last thing that happens is I get an encounter card. And I got Metal Shards. Deal 1 damage to each character you control and place 1 magnet counter on the main scheme. Alright, well my ally is going to get knocked out anyway. And then I take 1 and place 1 magnet counter on the main scheme. Okay, then it is my turn. Okay, so I can, thankfully, exhaust Hawkeye to ready his bow. So I at least can use that. Okay, I'm going to exhaust his bow to play an arrow event. I'm going to discard a resource and play Cable Arrow and remove 3 threat from a scheme. So I'm going to finish off Orbital Decay and flip it over. And on the back side it says Physical Strain attached to Magneto. Magneto loses the steady keyword. So now I can actually stun and confuse him without having to stun or confuse him twice. And now I can deal as much damage to him as I need to. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do, can I even do that right now? I don't think so. Man, this is rough. I think I'm going to have to, I'm going to flip over to Alter Ego form. And then I will ready all of my cards. And then are there any of these cards I want to discard? I think I'm just going to keep all 3 of these, draw 3 new ones. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I got a resource card, energy, I got call for aid, so discard cards until you get an ally and put them in your hand, and then make the call, play an ally from your discard pile. Okay, then Magneto's going to do his turn. He's going to get 2 threat again, which means he's going to finish his main scheme again. And the last one says When revealed, place 2 magnet counters here. If physical strain is not attached to Magneto, do a bunch of stuff. It is. We were able to get that attached to him. We would, if we're following the rule we did before, there were 2 on there already. We're adding 2 more, so it would go up to 4. We'll remove 3. It'll go down to 1. And then we have to discard until we get a magnetic card. No magnet cards yet. There's one. Okay. You are confused. Place 1 thread on the main scheme for each magnet counter on it. Okay, well that would change because technically the counters would not be removed until after that is resolved. So it's going to start with 1 plus 4, so it's going to be at 5. And I'm confused. And then those 3 counters would have been removed. Okay. Then he's going to scheme for 2 and we lose. So he schemes for 2 plus 2 plus 1, so 5. So yeah, that's it. Because as soon as that Rule of Magnus card hits 7, we lose. So that is it. We were only able to do 6 damage that one time, and that was it. It was just a struggle to stay alive after a while there. Yeah, oof. I've played Magneto 3 or 4 times now, I think, and I think we've lost once and then won the other times. He's not too bad if you can get through those side schemes fairly quickly. He's really not that bad, but if you get a bunch of those magnet cards bouncing off of each other, it can get really rough. And then I had that guard minion, and I wasn't able to deal any damage to Magneto, and it was just rough. But that's all right. So that is it for that game. I believe Hulk will be our next hero that we will be playing with. And then the next villain should be Magog, I believe. So he's one of the villains you get in the Mojo Mania villain pack. So I believe that will be our next matchup. It will be Hulk versus Magog in a champion battle in the Mojoseum. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. Catch you on the next one.